Grace and peace, everybody. Happy Friday. So good to see you. So good to see you. And this is the day that the Lord has made. And I, for one, I'm going to rejoice and be glad in it. Now, this is what I want to share with you today. And I'm going to start in an unusual way. I'm going to start with a scripture. I'm going to start with the scripture that I want to use as my topic today for ministry moments. And if you didn't know, now you know this is your ministry moment. And this is coming from Revelation chapter 12. I'm going to start from verse 11. Now have come the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brothers and sisters, who accuses them before our God day and night. So the enemy is before God day and night, reminding him of how terrible we are, that we did this yesterday, that we did that yesterday, that we did that last week, that we did that 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And the devil is saying to God, God, you really gonna let them get away with that? You're really not gonna give account for that? You're really not gonna punish them for that? So he accuses them before our God day and night and has been hurled down. So God has dismissed him like, get out my face. Get out my face. They triumphed over him. They triumphed over him, listen to this, by the word of their testimony and by the blood of the Lamb. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death. So they did not allow, no matter what the enemy did, no matter what the enemy said, for the enemy to cause them to shrink up and shrivel up and be embarrassed and go away and be in a corner and feel embattled and feel powerless because of the constant accusations from the enemy and the agents of the enemy. We do not allow ourselves to shrink from dying on the inside because we're embarrassed of our testimony, right? Therefore rejoice, you in the heaven and you in the earth. Rejoice. And this is what I want to talk about today. You are going to have a testimony that's worthy of hearing. Never be embarrassed about your testimony. That's for one. And number two, don't give anybody power to tell your testimony for you. Tell your own testimony. Matter of fact, don't be embarrassed about your testimony. Tell your testimony. Because when somebody else tells your testimony, it don't have as much power as when you say it. As a matter of fact, it has no power. Someone else telling your testimony for you is just regurgitated words with no power. Don't allow nobody else to tell your testimony. They may feel that they have the upper hand and they got power because they know something about you. But they only got power because you are not telling your own story. Nobody can tell your story better than you. So ma'am, sir, ma'am and sir, tell your own testimony, because I'm pretty sure you got plenty of things that you could testify about the goodness of God about. Leave my testimony alone. My testimony is my testimony to tell. Because you have no power telling my testimony for me. And I refuse to give you power by allowing you to tell it. This is how you take the power from the enemy. Because the enemy think he got something over you and on you, because he can go and threaten you with shame. Threaten you with the idea and the fear that somebody else is going to know your business and going to know your testimony. Yes, I was down at some point. Yes, I went through some hard times. Yes, there are some things that the enemy has taken me through that has got me down, dragging in the mud. But that's my story to tell. That's my testimony to tell. Allow me to tell my testimony so that somebody else can be empowered by the fact that I went through and got on the other side of that testimony. Don't allow nobody to tell your testimony for you. Your testimony is yours, and it is a powerful thing. Own it. Own it. Because the devil resides in shame. The devil takes pleasure, and the devil takes victory over the fact that you are embarrassed and you are afraid of your testimony. So what if they know that you're going through a thing or two? So what if they see you in your worst time? So what? As a matter of fact, let them see it. Let them see it, because that's how confident you are in your God. Let them see it, because what happens now is that Psalms 23 kicks in. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. My enemies that know my testimony and seen my testimony and thought that I would never get up from that. God will allow certain people to see things. Don't be embarrassed that people see your struggle and people see your defeat and people see you go through and people have something to talk about. And they may even want to talk about your testimony, but their testimony has no power because you're not the one telling it. You're not the one telling it. So, tell your story. Tell your story. Who knows, you telling your story might be the very thing God is waiting on to give you bragging rights about something to show as the after effect of that testimony. So I hope that blessed you today. Don't be embarrassed of your testimony. Tell your testimony, and more importantly, don't allow nobody else to tell your testimony for you, because nobody can tell your testimony better than you. You have a blessed weekend. Live by faith, live the glorious life, and be sure to like and subscribe on TikTok and on YouTube, The Glorious Life Ministries. See you on Monday for Motivation Monday. Bye guys, have a